Hi there, welcome to today's painting tutorial. Today we are going to paint a kitten with acrylic paints, so let's get started. I'm going to start with a size 0 round brush, and let's take some black paint. I'm going to put this around the pupil, and then go around the eye. And you can grab this sketch in the description below and paint along. Just want a black outline. And then while that's still wet, let's pick up some of this blue and see if we can add that in. And I want it to mix together with that black and create sort of a darker shade of blue. Okay, now let's make a lighter version of that. So you could pick up maybe some of this grayish blue with the bright blue and put that along the bottom. And then let's pick up some white and sort of feather that in to create a little bit of a highlight and sort of a glowing effect. Then I'm going to pick up the white and put a bit of a highlight up here, just little dots. Then pick up some more white. I'm just going to make a little curve shape here, just for further highlight. Okay, and now let's do the other eye. So I'll take that black, paint in the pupil, adding a little bit of water onto the brush as I go, just so that my paint flows a little bit easier. Then we'll go around the outside of the eye, over the eyelash. Okay, and you want the eyes to be pretty much the same size. Now let's pick up some of that blue, and we want it to be a dark value. It's going to mix with the black that was already on the brush and the black that is on the paper. Okay, so darker at the top, and then we want to get lighter towards the bottom. So let's pick up some of this grayish blue, maybe a little bit of white and some of this bright blue. And then put that in along the bottom. Okay, then let's take some white paint and start putting in a little bit of a highlight there and allow it to blend right onto the page. Pick up some more white and then put the highlight, just a couple dots. Okay, and then let's go around the eyes. I'm going to mix up a light gray color. So we'll take the white, a little bit of this darker gray, and then start putting that around the eye. You want to do this with a 0 round brush that you get a lot of precision. You don't want to cover up this black area, which is really easy to do. You want that to stay visible and nice and thick, so really carefully go around it, that gray paint. Okay, really take your time and get close in there. So easy to cover up too much of that lid. You could kind of turn the paper if you need to, just so you have an easier angle. Okay, so just like that. All right, so now let's do the nose. I'm going to use some of this burnt umber here. I'm going to go around the top of the nose. I'm going to go into the nostrils and then underneath the nose. I want to come down and also fill in the mouth. Then I'm going to bring this up a little bit so it wings. And then a little bit of a line down the middle. Okay, and then I'm going to clean off this brush. Pick up some of this pink. And then let's put the pink in. And if it mixes with the brown, that's okay. It's going to create a shadow. And then pick up a little bit of white with some of that pink and put that in towards the center. Okay, let's take a little bit of white and create the highlight. Okay, so that looks good. Now let's take some pink and sort of go around the mouth area. And underneath there, you could pick up a little bit of beige, sort of feather some beige in there as well, kind of as a transition color. Okay, and if you lost some of your mouth, like I did, you can just go back, try to put it back in with that burnt umber. Okay, so let's kind of continue that. So I'm going to put some white, some of this gray paint, and then let's continue to build this area of the muzzle. Just using a gray color. Okay, I'm going to go around the outside with this gray color that we mixed up. And then I want it to get lighter, so I'm going to put some white in there. So it's going to create sort of a three-dimensional form. It's going to come forward a little bit. Just make the face look more three-dimensional. And you can blend that out. Okay, and then let's put some darker gray in there. So grab a little bit of the dark gray. And then just put a few little marks here. And this is going to be where the whiskers come out of. Just some light little marks. Okay. You could also use this as a shadow to go around the edges of the mouth a little bit along the bottom. Okay, so now let's complete the nose area. So I'm going to take some gray, a little bit of white. I want it to be darker around the outside edge of the nose. And this area here. Then we want it to be a lighter gray, so I'll keep mixing the white in with that gray. Again, be careful to leave your dark lines and not paint over them. Okay, so I'm just continuing up. I'm going to take some of this darker gray, start putting it here. We have sort of a V shape with the dark gray. Then it's going to be a lighter color, so you can pick up that white and feather that white in on either side. I'm going to put a little bit of white under this eye as well and underneath this one. And then go in with some gray and maybe add a little bit more gray. And feather that down. Okay, maybe a little bit more over here. And then I'm going to let's put some dark gray, mixing a little bit with my brown. Let's start putting some dark gray underneath the chin here. So let's keep building out this way. And I'm going to add some white, sort of feather it out. Okay, so we can take gray onto this side, have the darker gray, And then add a little bit of the white and feather that in. Okay, so let's work a little bit above the eye. So I'm going to use maybe a mid-tone gray. Come up around the eye. And then around this one here. Okay, and just continue to fill that in. Okay, and then I can add some white and just put a little bit of white over the eye. Be careful not to cover that black area. Okay, so now let's switch brushes. I'm going to switch, let's take a size 3 flat brush and let's work on the ears. So I'm going to take some of the dark brown, start building up the ears. And I'm going to grab some pink. Then I'm going to pick up some beige and put that beige in. Okay, let's do that on the left side. So pick up the dark brown around the base and pick up your pink. You can put the pink sort of around the edge and then pick up that beige and add the beige in. Okay, so now I'm just going to continue building the face. I'm going to start adding some of this grayish blue. Add a little bit of that along this face area. Let's bring some up here above this ear. I'm just using the edge of this brush to fill that in. Okay, we can add some gray to this ear. Okay, I'm going to mix up some more gray paint with the white. I think I'm going to have to add more gray onto the palette. This is just a dark gray craft paint. Okay, so I'm just building this color. So let's start with some of the darker gray. Start putting that in as a nice sort of base. Thinking about where some of the shadows are going to be. Okay, and then I'm going to add a little bit more of the blue. And then I want to get lighter, so I'm going to take that Cerulean round brush and some white paint. And let's start feathering in some of the white paint in sort of a hair-like texture. Just thinking about the direction of the fur. Creating some of this nice texture. And it's mixing together with the paint that's on paper, and that's fine. Okay. Okay, so now let's come down here. I'm going to use this dark gray color and start putting in this dark color around the head for a shadow. Then I want it to come down this way. And then also around the bottom. I'm going to have this center area be a little bit lighter. And this bottom area is going to be in shadow. If you wanted it to be a little bit darker, go ahead and add some black in there. Just sort of feather it down with your brush. Okay, and then we can get gradually lighter. I'll take some of this and mix it with some of the blue. And then mix up some light gray. So we'll take some white and a little bit of the dark gray. Mix up a lighter gray color. Start feathering that in as well. This area here, it's pretty loose. Just adding that light area to the chest. And allow it to come over this way. Okay, I'm going to take some blue, some gray, and some white. Then start putting that over here. Try to use the edge of the brush to create that fur texture. Okay, so I think that looks good. Okay, so now let's switch brushes. I have a liner brush. It's a size 0 liner brush. And let's use that to start putting in some fine details. And I'm going to do that with the white paint. So you want to roll that brush into the paint. And then I'm going to bring some of that up along the ears. And then around into the center of the ear where some of this hair is going to be. And then bring it into this ear. And I'm going to bring it over here to create some of the sort of eyebrows of the cat. Okay, and then let's bring some whiskers. Might need to add some water in the brush to get the paint to be thin enough. Try to get the right consistency here. Okay, bring it down on this side. I'm going to bring some little lines over here to create a little bit more fur texture. And to this side, add a little bit of a highlight. Maybe onto this ear. Okay, so we're just about finished. I'm going to take this flat brush and take some white paint. Let's put a little bit of a highlight under here. And one under this eye. Just going to try to smooth out some of this gray paint here. A little bit of white over here. Be a little highlight on the nose. Okay, I just want to smooth out a little bit of this paint. Sometimes that gray paint looks a little streaky. Just smooth it out a little bit. Then I'm going to smooth this edge here. Just kind of clean up any edges. Okay, I might come in with a little bit of white just under here. Over here a little bit too. Okay, just go back and sort of smooth anything out that you think needs to be touched up a little bit. I'm going to take some of this darker gray and see if we can come back, put some of these shadows around the eyes. I'll sort of bring those back. Bring back the shadow a little bit over here. Okay, and I think we will call this painting complete. Thank you so much for painting along with me. Like and subscribe for more painting tutorials, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.